unbeaten, 40-0, 30 knockouts. Against Randall Tex Cobb, 20-2. In a battle for the WBC World Heavyweight Championship. And James Quick Tillis against Greg Page in an important 12-round heavyweight fight. Happy to have the privilege of introducing as my colleague tonight. He'll be calling for you the Page Lillis bout, a gentleman who's been a personal friend for a long number of years, one of the most versatile sports commentators on the North American continent. His name, Don Chevrier, during the Montreal Olympics in the Maurice Richard Arena and finally in the Montreal Forum. He was in the booth next to me detailing the boxing competition to the people of Canada. So, Don, it's a pleasure to have you aboard.
Thank you, Howard. A pleasure to work with you indeed. And tonight we're going to see, first of all, Quick Tillis, who fights out of Chicago, and Greg Page for the U.S. Boxing Association heavyweight title. Now, that's the reason the bout is 12 rounds. It doesn't mean a great deal more than that. As you know, Howard, what it does mean is last chance, perhaps, for heavyweight ranking and recognition for both these guys. They're both coming off losses, but Greg Page, coming in tonight at 238 3/4, may have trouble doing what he always said he wanted to do, that is emulate your good friend Muhammad Ali. They're both from Louisville. He said he wants to move and stick and keep moving. At 238 3/4, that won't be easy.
Hardly, Don, because that's 17.5 pounds more than he enjoyed when he fought Trevor Berbick and lost to him on June 11th of this year, the night that Holmes stopped Cooney in the 13th round. So as Don repairs to his position to call the Page-Tillis fight for you, we'll be taking a quick look and meeting the two fighters as they're introduced into the ring. Over to you, Don.
All right, Howard, scheduled for 12 rounds. Greg Page and James Quick Tillis.
For World Championship Boxing, brought to you by Don King Productions and Astrodome Championship Enterprises, under the auspices of the Texas Department of Labor and Standards, Elias B. Steen in attendance. The judges are David McCullough and Barry Yeats. Our referee is Mark Tessman. We are scheduled for 12 rounds for the USBA Heavyweight Championship. Introducing first the challenger, weighing 216 pounds with a record of 22-2, wearing white trunks from Chicago, Illinois, James Quick Tillis. And the current USBA champion with a record of 19-1, wearing red trunks from Louisville, Kentucky, weighing 238 3/4 pounds, Greg Page.
Well, as Howard said, Page over 17 pounds heavier than he was for his last bout, and that was last June 11th on the undercard of the Holmes-Cooney main event in Las Vegas, when Greg broke the thumb in his right hand, lost the decision to Trevor Berbick, the Canadian heavyweight champion. And as for Quick Tillis, well, he was knocked out in the 8th round by Pinklin Thomas in Cleveland back on August the 14th. So they've had up and down careers. They are parallel in that respect, and as we stated at the outset, this indeed is a major opportunity, if not a last chance, for both Page and Tillis tonight. Larry Holmes has said so many times at 33, he will not be fighting that much longer. The winner figures to be around in the chase for Larry Holmes' title eventually. The scoring, the referee has a vote, as do two judges. 10-pound must scoring. Page still at 238, trying to move a little bit in the ring. Tillis was flat-footed for his loss to Thomas, and the suspicion is he'll get back up on his toes and bounce a bit more than he did that night. Had a great battle with Ernie Shavers, now retired as well. Tillis flicking the left hand out quickly. Tillis from Tulsa, Oklahoma, now fights out of Chicago. Page, of course, from Louisville, Kentucky, and Greg Page there with a couple of quick jabs following through with the right. The referee is Mark Tessman from Monroe, Texas. Scheduled for 12 rounds here in the Astrodome. The crowd still sparse, as Howard told you, but they are filling in rapidly. In advance of the main event coming up, Randall Tex Cobb and the heavyweight champion Larry Holmes. Bristling first round action now. Both men out to establish authority early. Both well aware of how important this bout is to their careers. Page, the former amateur champion, twice AAU champion, did not fight much internationally. Turned pro 2 years before the Olympic Games in Moscow. Page, for his weight that he's carrying, showing surprising quickness tonight. Midway through round one. As we stated, Page's last fight, a defeat to Trevor Berbick. And the last for Tillis, a knockout by Thomas in Cleveland. And Tillis in some early trouble now as Page takes it to him in the corner. Page waiting in, looking for the quick knockout. And has Tillis in some difficulty. He's backing him up. The good left hook, the right coming through, grazed him with another chopping right, looping left. All punches from Greg Page. A good stiff right hand comes through that time. Tillis feeling the effects of the blows from Page here in round number one in Houston. 30 seconds now remaining in the round. It has been a good round for Greg Page. Blood from the mouth now of Tillis showing up. The left scores again. A good right by Page. Rips the left hook around. Has the right block. 10 seconds to go on the round. Greg Page, very much in command in round one.
Listen, there are
Bakersfield, California.
It's a fact that over a million.
Great stick. 9.9.
From the top of the dome, we look down on round two of Page and Tillis, and Greg Page looking surprisingly fast on his feet and quick with the hands despite carrying over 238 pounds into this match. Scheduled for 12 rounds, but the way Page came out, it may not last that long. He took down Alfredo Evangelista in Detroit June 12th last year. Since then has won 3 of 4, a knockout over Scott Ledoux in the Bahamas. Back on December 11th, 81, an Ali's swan song. Knocked Ledoux down 4 times en route to that victory. Then the bad bout with Trevor Berbick, which he lost. He's not fought since then, June 11th of this year. Tillis now flicking out quick punches lefts and rights. But there's no question Tillis was hurt in round one. Capable, of course, of coming back with a good heavy punch and getting Page in difficulty. Referee Mark Tessman keeping them apart. Tillis is ranked 9th for Larry Holmes' title. Greg Page ranked number 4 in the world. Many questions remain to be answered about these two in this bout here in Houston tonight. Greg Page has been surprising. We're now midway in the second round. Perhaps not as quick as he came out of the first, but still looking effective for a man carrying nearly 240 pounds. The chopping right thrown by James Quick Tillis. Page is 24, Tillis 25 years old, approaching the prime of their fight careers. But this win tonight, oh, so important. Page disdainfully, the hands held low, the head fake action to Tillis. Sticks the good left out at him, missing with a right. Tillis more competitive certainly in this round. But he's not able to sustain action against Page as Greg did with him back in the first. First round to Page, obviously. This one a lot more even. Now Page talking to Tillis as he stands over in the corner, urging him to give him his best shots. Less than 30 seconds in the second round remaining. Remember, the heavyweight championship, Holmes and Cobb with Howard Cosell coming out later. This one scheduled for 12 rounds, the highlight of the undercard here in Houston. Tillis scoring effectively, has got him on the ropes now, hammers him when he is down. The referee backs him away, cautioning Tillis. Page, wobbly, getting up, bouncing off the other side now, was stung by that sudden flurry. James Quick Tillis comes after him again. There's the bell, fights after the bell, and again has to be waved away by the man in the middle with his work cut out for him tonight, referee Mark Tessman. So a sudden turn of events after a Page first round. It was Tillis coming on better in the second, and then particularly late in the round, just a couple of seconds remaining, he got Greg Page over against the ropes just above us, and he indeed did hurt him. Flurry of punches coming through. A delayed reaction, he fell, then was hit on the way down with the left. That might have done as much damage as anything, but there is the good straight right coming through. That's the one that made him wobbly, and down he went. So they'll work on Greg Page now to repair him if they can for round number 3. And he hammers him another time as he's down. So the referee very lenient toward Mr. Tillis, who was over anxious to finish it off. Round 3 coming up, scheduled for 12, but it's given us no indication it is going to go that far tonight. One round each, and now Tillis on the attack, takes a punch coming in, almost floored him. Knocked him off balance for a moment. The right from Greg Page. Neither one wants this to go 12. Aiming for the knockout to end it right here. Tillis now forcing Page to back up. Page was coming forward nicely in the first round, but that's all changed now. Fighters with up and down careers. Tillis taking punishment there as he was trying to pin Page on the ropes. Page was holding on and then got the hands free to fire out at Tillis, who was cautioned again by the referee. It's been a good match so far. Many thought we wouldn't see much action between these two, but they've given us a real show so far. Wading in with punch after punch. Tillis now, the good left comes through. Page back into the ropes and springs off quickly. Tillis ranked 9th, Page 4th. I would think the extra weight that Greg is carrying would cost him more as he goes along. Tillis only 216, over 22 pounds lighter than Greg Page is. Halfway through round 3. Tillis hurt in the first round, Page in the second round. Page has bounced back to fight more evenly at this stage, past the midway point of the third. Moving better, but mostly backward. Starts to circle around a little more now. Page's hands still held low. Tillis failed to move in and inflict any more serious damage early in this third round. And he has Page blocking. Good counter-punching by Page. He'll slug it out with Tillis coming in, and has hurt him a few times doing that. Over 450 pounds of heavyweights in the ring here in Houston. Another left thrown out by Page with Tillis coming in. He takes quite a few that way. You see the time remaining, and this is the third round, scheduled for 12. Round 3 over, and Page acquitting himself extremely well in round 3 after being in serious trouble back in the second. All right, Tillis, as we said, has a habit of walking into punches. Page caught him on this exchange. Tillis, both arms extended, went down ever so briefly, spun around as he was stung with the right hand of Greg Page. Angelo Dundee.
You come on. Just do your thing. I ain't doing nothing different. Spit it out. Give me the goddamn spit bucket.
A little frustration there as all the equipment is not right at Angelo's disposal. Working with James Quick
Side
Tillis.
to side. You go under and over with your shot. Okay, now, take it easy. All right, Harry, easy. You gonna do it for me? Under, over.
Now in Page's corner. Round 4 is underway. Dundee urging Tillis to move better in the ring. He did not move well in the third round in particular. Page continues to move, and you wonder how much more effective he would be at about 216 instead of 238 3/4 in terms of the style he likes to deploy. From Louisville is Page, attended the same high school as the then Cassius Clay. Tillis, whose home and birthplace is Tulsa, fights out of Chicago. And you'd have to rate this just about even right now. Into round 4. Tillis smiling now at Page. Page backing up again, something he was doing earlier that cost him, but off the ropes he sends a tremendous combination of punches. Tillis shakes his head to say it didn't hurt me, but indeed he must have felt that combination. And again the blood coming from the mouth. It erupts into a slugfest from time to time. Mouthpiece is out from James Tillis.
I got you. Break.
As we're past the midway point of round 4. Page flicks the jab out. Waits for a chance to bring that low right up and score with it. With the low guard openly disdainful of Tillis' attack. But Page indeed was hurt by it earlier, as was Tillis. They both paid a price so far. For this, perhaps the most important bout right now in their respective careers. Again, Tillis catching a right on the way in. Now the left from Page comes through. Less than 30 seconds remaining in the 4th round. Blood from the lip of Tillis now takes another good blow from Greg Page. 10 seconds to go on the round. Page coming on these waning seconds, gaining favor from the judges. Round 4 coming to an end. Midway in that last round, Tillis' mouthpiece went flying. The right got it partially out. The left from Page took it all the way out. And now in round 5, back to live action with you in the Astrodome in Houston, Texas. And this much better action, as we've said, than many anticipated here. Both men have been hurt. Tillis has had blood coming from the lower lip, off and on throughout this bout. That must be bothering him. It's a good, solid, chopping right hand from Page. Page tends to do that, give you that short, hard right as he appears to be fading away from the action. It stings.
I got you. Step, no punch, just step back. No punch.
Testing separating them. As the bout wears on, the recurring problem with stamina that Page has had throughout his career will become a question. Especially at 238 3/4. Tillis weighing 216. Page has 16 knockouts. From his 19 victories, Tillis 17 of his 22 wins ended by a KO. And it looked to the first couple of rounds it was going to be an early knockout tonight. But here they are battling into round 5, scheduled for 12.
There we go. Now he's back.
A looping left thrown by Tillis. Page now will stand in the corner as we've seen before. Let Tillis come in and catch him on the way in if he
I
can.
got you. Let's step back.
This time, but Tillis holds on.
There we go. I got you. Don't punch. There we go.
Page has a 2-inch reach advantage, which is not of significance. 5 or 6 inches would be. If it does go the distance, 12 rounds, 10-point must-scoring systems in effect here in Texas. The referee and the 2 judges at ringside score. The free knockdown rule is waived. There's a mandatory 8 count, and you cannot be saved by the bell except in the 12th round. The momentum comes and goes in this fight. One fighter takes the advantage, and then the other man tends to take over. It was Page late in the last round. Now Tillis backing Page into the far corner.
There we go.
Looping left, missed. The right connected, though, from Tillis.
10 seconds.
There we go.
These 2 heavyweights after the bell to end round 5. And Tillis again wants to continue the action after the bell. Here's Larry Holmes in the dressing room here in Houston watching the action here. Oh, yeah, I'm on TV, right, Larry? And, of course, Howard will have that for you. Larry Holmes, defense of his title. He looks ready against Randall Tex Cobb. It'll be coming up later. Cobb, the 28-year-old with great one-liners, a man with a tremendous sense of humor, calls all the reporters darling. I don't know if he called Howard that, but it wouldn't be more than once. He is a character. That's coming up, of course, on ABC, but right now we're watching great action here in the Astrodome. Quick Tillis and Greg Page, also heavyweights, the USBA Heavyweight Championship on the line. Page, the champion, this his 4th defense of that crown.
Check it out.
And we're approaching the halfway mark. Round 6. Tillis already on his feet. And a pretty even fight to this point. Mildly surprised that it has gone this far. The potential to end it earlier was there for both men. Neither could follow up. Page appeared to be hurt the more of the 2 in the early rounds. Both showing a little more caution here early in round 6. Tillis bouncing a little better, but still fairly flat-footed in the ring. And that is the style that cost him an 8th round knockout to Thomas in Cleveland in his last bout. Page, as we told you, decision by Trevor Berbick, who then went out and fought a terrible fight and lost to Ronaldo Snipes, the man who knocked Larry Holmes down about a year ago. Holmes coming back, of course, to win it. So it's a scramble beneath Holmes for the right to finally replace him when Holmes decides to pack it in. Of course, Tex Cobb's hoping he'll pack it in tonight. Tillis has had blood from the lip. That is not showing up at this stage, round 6. Difficult to tell if they are tiring or whether just taking a more cautious approach into the 6th round. Page does not have a history of long fights. Now takes some abuse. Lefts and rights coming out from Quick Tillis, who pounds away to the body, tries to work it up to the head, over on the far side. And again, the referee, Mark Tessman, has to come in and break it up. Just past the 2-minute mark of the 6th round. So far in the 6th round, the lightest action of the entire fight so far. Quick Tillis flicking the right out. He's changed his lead on Greg Page in an attempt to confuse him. It's cuffed by the left hook of Page at the end of that exchange. Seconds winding down now in round number 6 as more abuse for Tillis coming in. Page counter-punching very well when he gets pinned into corners. Almost trying to trap Tillis in there. There's the bell to end round 6, and again a push from Tillis just at the bell. Howard Cosell, your impression so far? Howard, we got some trouble with your microphone for a moment. We'll get back to you for your impression of it. It would appear to be a pretty even fight right now, with both men laying off in that 6th round, much more than they had earlier. But both still contesting it in the ring. So the early knockdown was not an indication of what to expect as things have turned out here, as Greg Page gets some advice over in his corner. Angelo Dundee, the man in charge there for Tillis.
Here you go, Aaron. Busy. Get me now? Okay. Go out there, southpaw. Let's go. Let's get it. You got it. The man is
Dundee, you heard him say the man is tired. A comment about Greg Page as Tillis on his feet 10 seconds before the bell, ready to come out for round number 7. Tillis could not capitalize when he had Page in trouble in the 2nd round. Page came back well in the 3rd, and I thought gained a slight edge in the fight around the 3rd and 4th round. Tillis going into a shell for a while. Takes the long left, partially blocked by his gloves. Again, Page, hands still held low. His style hasn't changed one bit, although he certainly is moving much slower than he was earlier. So the comment by Dundee that Page may be tiring could be the correct assessment. Many thought that Greg Page was the logical successor to Muhammad Ali. You're seeing flashes of Ali's style here, but it's cumbersome. It's slow motion. The minuet against disco because of the heavy weight that he is carrying at 238 3/4. You saw a right a moment ago bring a grimace of pain to the face of James Quick Tillis. Tillis driving the left to the body of Page. Chopping right by Tillis backs Page away. He was backing up, perhaps in a tactical sense, trying to draw him in. A low blow indicated from the referee Tessman, asking Page if he is all right. So Tillis has thrown them low and thrown them late here tonight. In a desperate attempt to regain stature in the heavyweight division. He's ranked number 9 coming in. Page is ranked 4th. And both men want this win oh so badly. Good right coming out from Greg Page. Tillis dropped his head for a moment, then sent the left through, jams the left hand in again, and missed with the uppercut. Again, a chopping right coming through as a counterpunch, effective from Greg Page. They are tired, leaning on each other as Tessman breaks them up again. Getting late now, and this is the 7th round, scheduled for 12. Couple of rapidly tiring heavyweights, but a good right thrown by Greg Page. Follows through with a combination. A left comes through. The right uppercut, pushing Tillis off, an attempt to go after him again. A good flurry late in this round by Greg Page. Again, the right causes pain. Tillis battling to stay on his feet at this stage under an assault from Page late in round number 7. Don Chevrier with Howard Cosell with you for the 8th round of Page and Tillis in the Astrodome. And these guys in the main, except for one lax round of 6th, have been giving us plenty of action. Scheduled for 12 rounds. Page with a big edge toward the end of that previous 7th round. Tillis so susceptible and vulnerable to the right hand of Page, took 2 of them just there. A 3rd right coming through, scoring by Page. Another one landing. Tillis was shaken earlier, as was Page. And that right is going to send him down. James Pick Tillis covering his eyes. I'm not sure he's going to make it. Here is Page jumping around the ring. Indeed, it is all over. The sudden shot from Page ends it. Here early in the 8th round in the Houston Astrodome. Tillis still wobbly. Angelo Dundee with him. At least he is on his feet. It appears to be all right. The end came swiftly and suddenly with a heavy chopping blow by Greg Page. Howard, you had said before we tried to establish your microphone that that's exactly what James Tillis had to be cautioned about, and indeed it did burn him.
Tillis is very susceptible to punches and goes down quickly. Page fought with power tonight. He was Bush when he just stuck his tongue out at Tillis. Bad behavior. Page is not the fighter he had the look of becoming when he was a young amateur on his way to the Olympics, which he later forsook. But for him, a good victory.
And Howard, indeed, what many thought was to be a turkey one day late for Thanksgiving, this was a remarkably fine bout, considering the weight that Page was carrying around and considering the fact that Tillis has really been inconsistent lately.
It was an action fight. That much can be said for it. Tillis was actually ahead in rounds up until the 7th, which Greg won, and then in the 8th you could see that Tillis was ready to go.
Ahead by a narrow margin, but that sudden punch did him in here in 8 rounds at the 43-second mark. We'll return for more of this ABC Sports exclusive after this from our local stations.
Sunday. Want to take the money market bull by the horns? The horns at Frontier Federal.
Channel 42, KVEW, Kennewick.
Seconds into round number 8. But a bristling fight it was. Good, solid action. What an important win for Greg Page in his career, coming back from the loss to Trevor Berbick back on June 11th in Las Vegas, Nevada. Let's go to Howard Cosell with Greg Page.
Greg, I haven't seen you follow through with your punches that well in a very long time.
Well, Howard, let me readdress that, Mr. Cosell. I've been, in my professional career, I have a lot of ups and downs, lost my father, controversy with promoters, and at first it was kind of hard for me to really have my mind together on what I really wanted to do. So now, since we have promotion-wise, management-wise, everything is running smooth, I feel that I can perform a little bit better, have more confidence in my management and my promoters, and like amateur, it's always great to see you, Howard.
Thank you, Greg. Under any circumstances, we had a duty, and we commented on your weight. Don Chevrier and his call of the fight. We were concerned about loss of stamina because of the amount of weight you were carrying. Right. Why are you so heavy?
Well, Mr. Cosell, let me say it like this. I come from a very big family. My father, before he died, he weighed about 245, 250. And, maybe that was about 5% fat. And my mother is, she's not fat, but she's a big woman. She comes from a big stock. And myself, I'm a big person. My brothers are big. My little brother, he's 14. He's 13. He weighs about maybe 160, 165. It's just not a case of fat or baby fat or, kiddish blubber. What all these reporters might call it. It's something called, like right now, I'm starting to mature. My body's starting to lean up. And I'm very glad that you and other reporters and commentators are concerned about my weight.
All right. I want to take a look in slow-mo of the knockdown. Now watch. That's what I mean by following through. The left missed, but Tillis dropped his fists, and he was wide open for the right. Too frequently, you had gotten into the habit of moving backwards as you delivered punches.
Yes.
You at least got out of that habit tonight.
Well, I haven't got out of that habit. You know, it's like this. When I was coming up, I was boxing the Russians, opponents, as you know, and I was very effective with these moves. So what I was trying to do, I would try to perfect it in such a manner so that it wasn't really, you couldn't really counter punch it, but you can see it coming, but you wouldn't know what direction to come to leave.
Greg, I hope you can get back to the young man I saw the night you defeated the Soviet fighter Vysotsky, who had beaten Stevenson. Then you had the look of another Ali. Congratulations. Good luck.
Sir, as usual, you know, I'm very glad and very proud to have ABC behind me in whatever I do, and I know that you're behind me as much as I'm behind you. So, you know, I'm glad to have you here filming the fight and whatever, so forth and so on.
All right. I want to make it clear to you, my friend, thank you very much. And we just report the fights. We don't root for anybody. Back to Don Chevrier.
Time before they go to the next bout.
All right, Howard, and the big one is still to come. The heavyweight championship fight, Holmes and Cobb. Stay with us. We'll have it for you live from Houston.